أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله أوله بلا أول كان قبل وآخره بلا آخر يكون بعده الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وأجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب الله رب العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعليه الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تعالى في محكم الكتاب المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي أما يصفون إلا عباد الله المخلصين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Condolences to all of my dear brothers and sisters and to Imam of our time upon the eve of the injury of the darbat of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. We have to cover a couple of topics tonight. One is our topic, which is ubudiyah itself, which we are looking at, and also is the night of Qadr, and also a zikr of Masaib and Musibat of Amirul Mu'mineen. In regards to the ubudiyat, we have mentioned that our actions are considered as ibadat, but the spirit that resides in those actions which is required to have is known as servitude, is known as ubudiyat. Ubudiyat means that one expresses, one manifests, one shows his lowliness, his need towards the Lord. Now, as we said, there are two types of ubudiyat. One is that universal or metaphysical ubudiyat, where whatsoever is in the heaven and earth, they are servant of God, whether they know it or not. You know, a person or a tree or whatever thing created might not have the comprehension of understanding that they are servant of God, but as they are limited, as they are faqir, as they are in need, that itself indicates, that itself dictates that they are in the state of servitude to God. The other type of ubudiyat is where one realizes it and manifests that out and voluntarily participate in carrying out which God have determined, which God have asked us to carry out, such as our prayers, such as Hajj, such as fasting, so on and so forth. So that is a voluntarily servitude, a person voluntarily participate. Then we also pointed out to that there are two types of servitude, because Imam Sadiq alayhi salam mentions to Unwan Basri that if you really want to have knowledge, if you really want to learn, if you want to have that spirituality in your life, what is required of you is that to attend or to have the essence of ubudiyat in you. Now, what is the essence of ubudiyat? The essence of ubudiyat is also divided into two folds. One is when a person is carry out what is halal and refrain from what is haram. There is and worships God. So there's a form of a duality as such. You know, there's me and my God, and I'm worshipping my God. But there is the true or the batini or the inward or the essential ubudiyat, which Imam Sadiq is pointing out to, that you need, if you want to have knowledge, if you want to gain knowledge, you should have the essentiality of that ubudiyat, that inward ubudiyat, that inward servitude. What is that and how one can really achieve that? That is, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam mentions that it is actually where a person sees God, where there is no duality as such, where these type of instances happen in one's life, and one reaches to that ultimate servitude where one annihilates in the face of God, which is called fana in the Irfani terminology, or in Buddhism as they call it nirvana, where one completely annihilates, right, and remains with the face of God, because the face of God will always remain, right. So here, that's what we were discussing last session, was that when a person reaches to that true servitude, he would worship a God where he sees God, Amirul Mu'mineen clearly says that. Somebody asked him, do you worship your Lord that you see? He said, do you think, woe unto you? How can I worship a Lord that I don't see? I worship a Lord that I see, not with the eyes, but with that inner heart. With that presence, where he sees nothing but God. And this is the highest level of ubudiyah, of servitude, where they become that sincere ones. They reaches to a point with this type of servitude continuously that God purifies them. They have shown their lowliness, they have shown their servitude, they have shown their ubudiyah, that they are slave to their Lord so much in their practices, by carrying out what God really wants them to carry out in every affair, that eventually a point comes where God purifies them. And God clearly mentions that. وَاذْكُرْ إِبَادَنَا Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. وَاذْكُرْ إِبَادَنَا, indeed we purified them. وَاذْكُرْ إِبَادَنَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ. These are the purified ones, Ibrahim, Ishaq, Yaqub. You have purified them. And وَإِنَّا أَخْلَصْنَاهُمْ, and indeed we purified them. بِخَالِصَةٍ ذِكْرَ الدَّارِ, with a thorough, with a special purification, right? وَإِنَّهُمْ إِنْدَنَا لَمِنَ الْمُصْطَفِينَ الْأَخْيَارِ, and they are surely among the elite and best, because they have practiced what God have asked them so much that eventually God raised them and God purified them. And when that happens, that is the target basically. When that happens, basically they start to have that divine vision where they see the names of God. That is why Hazrat Zainab, in the plain of Karbala, when Ibn Ziyad asked her, how was Karbala? What did you see there? She said, I saw nothing but beauty. Everything was beautiful. Although she has lost her brother, her own children, but she said, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I saw nothing but beauty. It was beautiful. So with this sort of logic, or with this sort of understanding, how can kufr and how can shaitan really deviate? When a person have this understanding. When Ibn Ziyad told Imam Sajjad alayhi salam that, how did we kill your brother? Then Imam Sajjad referred to the verse of the Quran that in regards to the taking of the soul, Inna Allaha yatawaffahu nafsa hina mawtiha. It is when you're saying, how did we kill your brother? As if he's trying to show that we have killed him. But Imam Sajjad uses the verse of the Quran in which he says that it is Allah who takes the soul at the time of death. It is not you what you have done. It is God who have taken that soul. It is an honor. Although there are different verses in the Quran where Imam Zainul Abidin did not mention those verses, in which he says it is malak or malaika, angel or angels take the soul, but Imam used the verse which says Allah takes the soul. So it is Allah who came to take the soul of Hussein. What an honor, not an angel, right? So those special purified ones, as the verses of the Quran points out to, they become to a level where they are seeing the divine names of God, the manifestations of God. Musa, after that ibadat, وَوَعَدْنَا مُوسَى ثَلَاثِينَ لَيْلَةً وَأَتْمَمْنَاهَا بِعَشْرٍ, and we finished, we prompted 30 nights, and then we finished by 10 more, we added 10 more. Musa said, I want to see you. He was so much involved in his worship, in that spirituality, where he says that, Allah, I want to see you. Although Musa knows that God cannot be seen. Although Musa have rescued the Bani Israel, from Pharaoh, and when they crossed the river, even their feet were not dry enough. They were passing through a village, and in this village there was an idol. The people were worshipping that idol. Then they came to Musa and they said, Musa, can we have a God like this that we could worship? Something tangible, so that they could feel that spirituality is there. They are worshipping. Then Musa said, I showed you so many miracles. I saved you. I brought you here. And I'm saying you cannot see God. But here, Musa says, I want to see you, O Lord. There's a request of a beloved. There's a request of a lover to the beloved, that I want to see you. Then here, obviously, God said, okay, fine, you sit. I will show you. Look at the mountain. Thunderbolts, lightning, light after light, angels coming, ranks of angels. Musa said, is it it? Is this it? He said, Musa, persevere. You have asked for something great. You said you want to see your Lord, right? He said, persevere. And then that tajalli, that theophany, that manifestation takes place. And Musa went unconscious, because Musa cannot really tolerate that. His body went off. And in the du'as we recite in Dua Samat as well on Friday evening, O Allah, for the sake of that tajalli that took place on the mountain for Moses, for that sake we are interceding, we are asking for that sake, whatever desire, that we have, hajat that we have. And that tajalli never took place again. Because every day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, huwa fi shan. Every day God is new and He's creating. When we stand at the shore of an ocean, every wave is different. And every wave is beautiful. And every wave has a different sound. God is continuously creating. God is always creating something new. God is manifesting His beauty. And here, that one tajalli that took place. And Imam asked in the dua that for that tajalli, which was unique and special, it never took place again. So when they reach to that level of purity, they are capable enough to depict and define God. Subhanallah amma yusifun. God cannot be described, cannot be depicted, as the ayah of the Quran says. Illa, except those who are mukhlasin, with the fatih lam, which we are talking about. Those who are purified by God, they are able to. So a person, an individual, a human being who reaches to the essence of servitude, he will be considered as mukhlasin, and number one, he will have the honor to really describe God, because he has seen God, because he knows God, he has the knowledge of God. And that is the knowledge Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is saying, Al-ilmu nurun yaghzifu fi qalbi man yasha. O Unwan Basri, knowledge is like light which is placed into the heart of whosoever God desires. So this knowledge of God is not by understanding philosophical principles, is not by logic, although it's logical, but I'm saying that it's not something, it's not by terminologies that you and I can learn, but it is like that light. And Allah places that light. And that's what happens when an abd, when a servant, when a human, when an insan tries to practice what God have asked him to do continuously, he reaches to a point where God takes him. And he would be honored by this quality of describing God. That's number one. And the second sign which he will have in regards to reaching that honor of servitude is that قَالَ فَبِعِزَّتِكَ لَأُغْوِيَنَّهُمْ أَجْمَعِينَ Shaitan. Right? Shaitan cannot able to deviate them. By Lord, he's saying, by Lord, I will deviate human being. I will deviate insan. Illa, except. Ibadaka minhum mukhlasin. Except those who are your purified ones. Shaitan will not be able to deviate them. Why? Because they see, even Shaitan,
We got to be careful here. They see even shaitan as one of the manifestations of God. What does shaitan do? Shaitan deviate. Allah is what? Allah is mudil. What does mudil mean? The deviator. So they see even shaitan as one of the names of God, which is as a deviator, but they know that they are not supposed to be deviated. And they know that shaitan is someone who is a staunch enemy of insan, aduwwum mubin. So they will not. So shaitan cannot even go near them. And they rely on God. That's one of the zikr that we are supposed to do for shaitan is what? A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Right? Let's come on a lower level here, little bit lower. I don't know, some people are really scared of dogs. You know, they just can't take it, right? I was one of them, but I have improved. I've come out of it, right? So when you go to your friend's house and he has a dog, and he comes to the door barking, and he's like wagging his tail, looking at you, you know, with his teeth and mouth open, are we going to fight with the dog? No, we're going to call the owner of the dog so that the dog should go away. So it is A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. You know, we're not going to get involved with the fight with shaitan. We'll seek refuge in the owner of that dog, in the owner of that shaitan, which is God. So that's what it means. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So the mukhlisin, which is much more higher level. This is on the lower level, I said. The mukhlisin are those because they are seeing nothing but beauty. That is why they go to the extent that those individuals who have been deviated and trapped by the shaitan, such as Shimr, that Rahman should even guide them. God should guide them even. God should have that mercy on them. That is why Imam Hussain said, I'm not crying for myself. I'm crying for Shimr. Because of me, he is going to hell. You know, Imam Hussain being killed is what? It's shahadat, it's an honor. You know, Fusto bi Rabbil Kaaba. But he was deviated. That's why Imam Hussain says, when he's on the chest of Imam Hussain, Shimr, do not kill me. Why are you doing this? Why are you committing this horrendous act? Right? I will guarantee you the shafa'at of Rasulullah, even after all of that. And obviously Imam Hussain not going to live a couple of hours if he's left alone there, because he's gone. You know, that 3-headed arrow and all that, you know, hit his chest, and when Ali Asghar died that way and Ali Akbar that way, and we know that how many wounds Imam Hussain, he's going to die in a couple of hours. But Imam Hussain says, Shimr, I will guarantee you the intercession of Rasulullah and paradise for you. Do not kill me. Do you think Imam Hussain wants to live? What is life after Akbar is killed that way? What is life after a 6-month-old son killed that way? You and I doesn't want to live. Here's Imam Hussain here. Then Shimr says, no, I want the reward of Yazid, then the shafa'at of Rasulullah. Then Imam Hussain said, oh Shimr, okay, if you decided to kill me, give me some water. Does Imam Hussain want water? Imam Hussain wants to have mercy on Shimr. At least he will have less azab if he gives water and slaughter him, instead of slaughtering him in that sort of cruel way. Imam Hussain is thinking about Shimr all the time. Because there is no longer Imam Hussain there. Imam Hussain is fana, is annihilated in God. It is really Rahman there. That is why in Ziyarat al-Jamia we recite to Masumeen, to Ahl Bayt. Wa umana'ur Rahman. They are the minarets of mercy of God on earth. They have reached to that level that they are representation of God in a human form. They are the reflection of God. If God wants to manifest himself in its full capacity in this material world, it can only be manifested in the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, in the Imams. That is why they say that Nahnu Asma'ullah, we are the names of God. And God says in the Quran, Lahul Asma'ul Husna, they are the names of God. Fadu'u biha, call these names. Through these names you come near to me. So it's the names of these Imams. These names are the Imams. These names are those who are purified by God. Those insan hai kamil, those awliya, those perfect souls. So shaitan can never come near them. And clearly shaitan also says that I will not be able to come near them at all. That's the second sign of those who have reached the essence of servitude, the essence of ubudiyat. The third one is where it says that فَإِنَّهُمْ لَمُحْضَرُونَ إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ فَإِنَّهُمْ مُحْضَرُونَ, from hudur, from presence. On the day of judgment, everybody will be called. Illa, except the mukhlasin ones, because they will enter paradise بِغَيْرِ hisab. That's one. On a higher level, everybody will be hazir. Before they are hazir, because the mukhlasin are already annihilated in God, they're already there. And the issue of shafa'at is resolved this way, the theological issue of shafa'at, intercession. The Ahlul Bayt interceding. Because the Ahlul Bayt or the Imams, they are representing, they are manifesting, they are reflecting the mercy of God. It's nothing but that. That's what it is. The other individuals will have that huzur, will have that present. They will become hazir. But the mukhlasin, but those individuals who have reached the essence of ubudiyat, they are already hazir. They are already in the face of God, huzur. Their presence is already there in the dunya, in the barzakh, and also in the hereafter. Because, as the God says that, كُلُّ شَيْءٍ halik illa wajhu. Everything will be halik, everything will be doomed and destroyed except the wajhullah, except the face of God. The face of God will remain. So with their actions, they have become, God doesn't have a part, but they have become within the face of God. That is why there's a verse in the Quran which talks about the day of judgment. The day of judgment is not there yet. We are going in the direction of the day of judgment. The day of judgment will happen. The Jannat is not there yet. The Jannat will be made by God later on. Right? One might talk about the Mi'raj of the Prophet. When he went to Mi'raj, he saw people in the hellfire. That is the hellfire of barzakh. Fir'aun, for example, the Quran talks about, every day and night we come with a whip of a fire in the grave of Pharaoh. That is in the barzakh. That's not in the day of judgment yet. The day of judgment will happen. The whole creation, every created thing will cease to exist. They will go in the state of coma. And then God will prepare the day of judgment. By the time the creation is in the coma, meaning that they have no senses at all. And then the day of judgment will be prepared, the Jannat will be prepared, and then they will be raised from the grave. And they will sit on the grave, هَذَا يَوْمٌ يُبْعَثُونَ مَا وَعَدَ الرَّحْمَنَ هَذَا يَوْمٌ. In Surah Rahman, we say, this is the day. They will remember after that. Because they will have a long sleep. Because in Barzakh, they are still alive, and they die, as the verses goes. They are alive, they will die. And they will come back to life again, they will die again, they will come back to life again. So in Barzakh, they are still alive. The arwah is still alive. Barzakh is right here. It's just we close this eye, we enter in Barzakh. Right? The arwah are here. So, the day of judgment will happen, will take place later on. Right? So the verse says that when everything will be in a state of coma and cease to exist, Allah will allow certain souls to witness and see how God prepares the day of judgment. We are talking about Israfil also dying, right? Israel also dying in the sense that ceasing to exist. All angels, all archangels will die. The ayah goes, illa, except those which man yasha, except those which God decides them to be alive, because they have the capacity and capability to really witness and see how God prepares the day of judgment. They are the mukhlasin. And then in the riwayat you have the throne, the four individuals bringing the throne, so on and so forth. Some say these four individuals are malak. Some of them interpret as malak, some of them they interpret as, the Prophet and Amirul Mu'mineen and Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, for example, in riwayat, so on and so forth. In the tafsir of this ayah, Imam Sadiq talks about it. Now, that's the, third sign of those. Now, what's the fourth sign? The fourth sign in regards to those is that those who will get the jaza, the reward on the day of judgment. Because we still in the state of duality, Jannat, and we're going to go there and we're going to have this and that. For the mukhlasin, there's no reward as such. I mean, it's like they are part and parcel of the manifestation of God Himself. That's why Amirul Mu'mineen says that, do I worship those who worship the Lord out of hellfire? That's the worship of those who are fear. Those who worship for Jannah, those are the tujjar, the businessmen. But I worship my Lord because He's deserved to be worshipped. There's no thing of recompensation. There's no compensation there that they will get a reward or anything. No. It's just how they are. They have reached that stage. They have become one with God. How they have become one with God? Because of the principle of ubudiyah. Because they have reached to the essential reality of what servitude means. How they have reached? What is the methodology? Can we also reach? Is it possible for us as well? And are they in that state for eternal all the time, or they have these fluctuations? While being in the dunya, yes, these astaghfar that they have, all of these astaghfar is related to that the Prophet wants to be doing salat or being in sajda all the time, but he has to speak to Abu Jahl as well. But he would rather be doing the tasbih of God rather than speaking to Abu Jahl, so these astaghfar which the Ahl Bayt or Masumin have is pointing out to their human state, that they don't even want that, So they have these fluctuations of that complete communion and annihilation with the Lord. Amirul Mu'mineen, he was in sajda. They pulled the arrow out, he felt nothing. Because he was completely annihilated in God. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, while praying, he passes out. The slave comes and sprinkles water on his face. And he says, what did you do? I was one with my Lord. You just brought me back to multiplicity. I was in the state of unity. Right? And as this dunya has its own implication, but still the dunya provides us to really tap into that level of annihilation and fana and unity. Barzakh on a higher stage. The Jannah obviously on a higher stage. And even in Jannah there are darajat, there are levels. That's why you have different levels of slaves or abd within the ibad in the dunya. Musa never became a student of Khizr. He was rejected. Right? And within that level of anbiya, we have imams who are of the highest. إِذِ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ رَبِّي فَكَلِمَاتٍ فَأَتِمَّهُنْ. Right? Ibrahim was tested by the kalimat. Kalimat is a severe test, an imtihanat. فَأَتِمَّهُنْ. And we finished this test. قَالُوا جَائِلُكَ لِلنَّاسِ إِمَامًا. I would like to appoint you as an imam. Imam is the highest station and level of qurb, of nearness, of servitude to God. Higher than Nabi, prophets. Among the prophets, there are imams as well. Like Hazrat Ibrahim, the Ulul Azm prophets were known as the imams as well. And there are other prophets, who are masoom, but they are not imams. So that means within the ibad, within the servants of God, there are different levels. And these levels obviously based on their ruh and on their spirit, on their soul. And while them being in the dunya as well, the dunya have its own implication on them as well. For example, Hazrat Yaqub, finally he says, Ilahi, enough. When he found out that, the wife is working, bringing food for him as he was thrown out of the city with the disease that he had. Eventually he had no food. Then the tradition says that the wife had to sell her hair in order to get food for him. It says, Massaniya shaitan. Now it's, oh Lord, my test. I have reached that rim, that level. Now please. Then God returned back to him. But when you look at the imams and their test, is something else. Hazrat Ibrahim, what was that final test of Hazrat Ibrahim by which he became imam after that? Ismail. That was the hardest. And he passed that and he said, okay, now we will make you an imam. But when you look at the sacrifice of Imam Hussein, obviously. Right? So here the abd, the ibad, there are levels of ibad. They are among the prophets as well, among the human beings as well, right? Obviously, human beings and prophets and the imams, and these are we all are considered as ibad. We all are considered as servants of God. Now, the levels based on their soul and also based on the implication of the dunya, the effect of the dunya which they have upon them, right? And the more they avoid this dunya, that purification starts taking place. Obviously, halal and haram and the strict diet and food, it affects the soul, obviously. Within any tradition you would find that. Within Hinduism you have that. They prescribe that become a vegan, or prescribe that have food only which the birds eat, the bird food, so that when you eat that food that will affect your body, your soul, you will be able to fly. Your soul will be able to fly, right? So same way applies in terms of within the Islamic traditions as well, right? The dunya and its effect and the food, all that affects that soul. And when it affects that, it if one practices these spiritual practices, whether that be zikr, askar, prayers, all of these things, then slowly the heart becomes the place where those manifestation, where that nuraniyat, where those names starts to reflect, and he starts to really see that. And obviously, as they say, the beginning of it is in the dreams. That's the beginning of it. when the companion of the Prophet would go to the Prophet, in the morning, Prophet would ask them, what have you learned last night? People sleep in order to learn, because when they go to sleep, their third eye opens, and they are taught there. So dream is a form of learning. Wahi was in a form of learning. Hazrat Ibrahim saw Ismail in the dream, right? That he's sacrificing him. So dream is a form of learning. That's barzakh. Right? So when it affects us, the food and our ibadat, our fasting, our praying, you automatically feel that. There's clarity. Tell me, when you go for ziyarat, the first few days that you are there, your dreams are so strong when you are there. And also sometimes when you return back from ziyarat trip, when you come back here, you sometimes feel like, oh, I'm still there. Because your soul is still lingering to the shrine of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. There's clarity in your dreams. When you start doing ibadah, there's clarity there. Why do we all have these du'as where, if you recite this du'a, you'll see the Prophet, you'll recite this du'a, you'll see Amirul Mu'mineen in your dream. There's some sort of form of education, some sort of reality, which is barzakh, which affects, that helps the ubudiyah and servitude of that person. Now here, that's what, prescription comes about. That's what teaching, training, a person, an individual who have gone that path, he's able to really provide that. That's the first type where that training takes place through a teacher, to a peer, the murid, the sheikh, all of these things. Allama Maulana Rumi says, "Di sheikh ba charagh hamin gash dor shah, as di vodat malula mau insana marzus." Last night, the sheikh with the lamp was looking all over the city, and he was saying that, as divodat malula, I'm sick and tired of devil and evil. Insana marzus, I would like to see a human being. It's all animals all around me because of their behavior, right? Because of their nafs. Because nafs have that ability to, we shape our nafs. Sometimes we make it wolf, sometimes, a pig or whatever, a human. So he says, as divodat malula, I'm sick and tired of devil and evil, insana marzus. Goft yaftina shavad. Then a voice echoed, you will never find. Yaftina shavad. He says, onche ke yaftina shavad, ona marzus. That you cannot find, that is my arzu. That is I would like to find. So always in the search of a teacher, of a human being where one could really take us. That's one form. The other form is also where one could have direct connection with Lord, and God kind of manifests that into the heart. So there are two ways, two methodologies we have seen. That first is where you have a teacher, you have a training, you have, piri, muridi, or whatever you want to call. There's a proper set form. And even that person, that individual who's the guide, must be well versed in the Quran, in the Sunnah, in the dhikr, and the knowledge of the nafs, what to give, what not to give, how much to give, what is the criteria of it. Sometimes we tend to do certain du'as which are too heavy for us, and it backfires, right? Aghay Hassan Zadeh Amali says that you should know what is the depth of the water that you're swimming, right? So the zikr have that depth. Sometimes it's so heavy that it can take us down, right? Like for example, Dua Sabah, which is our Amirul Mu'mineen. It's not for everyone to recite. It's a dua in which you say to God, God, I'm ready. Test me whatever you want and the way you want. Next day, God tests you. He said, Ya Allah. Why? Oh, you said, Baba. You've been asking for it. Right? So obviously, there's a chemistry there. When you recite those zikr and askar, there's a chemistry. It changes. It kind of creates waves. So we got to be careful. So that is one way. The other way is, no, somebody is very sincere, to God and sincerely practicing the halal and haram. And God will take care of him, will put that light in him. We have seen these two methodologies. As tonight being the night of Qadr as well, the first night of Qadr, and also a night of Shab-e Zarbat of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, Zikr Musibat, and just prior to that, the night of Qadr is fascinating, it's very unique. It's an opportunity. You know, alhamdulillah, we are all lucky that God have given this opportunity. Because one night of ibadat is better than khayrun min alf shahr, is better than 80 years. Because 1,000 months is like 80 years. So it's better than 80 years. So just one night of ibadat. If I was in England or here as well, I would say only 4 hours of ibadat, because the night over there is only 4 hours. 4 hours is better than 80 years. What a bonus. What a reward out of mercy of God. And this beauty, this reward and this mercy is only and only because of the Prophet. Is only and only because of the Quran. Right? If Prophet was not there, he wouldn't have brought the Quran. Prophet being a human being, his heart was so magnificent that he was able to connect to God, as we were talking about the ubudiyah there. So he was able to bring that word of God to us, by which we cling on to, by which we take it and put it on our head, for this feeble soul, for this insan to connect through this book, which is the word of God, and by the name of the Prophet, and by those names that connect us to God. That's the falsafa, that's the philosophy of putting the Quran and taking those names. Right. And look how beautifully that God, out of His mercy, says, khayrum min alf shahr in the Quran. That one night of ibadat is better than 1,000 months. And there's a lot of, mystical reality to the night of Qadr, inshallah, as there are much more heavier nights of Qadr coming along. We will discuss it in more detail, because according to the traditions, 3 nights have been emphasized, because they say, look at the last 10 odd nights in the last 10 days. Then they questioned the Imam, they say, look in the 19th night for the night of Qadr, 21st and 23rd. So tonight is one of the 19th in which we'll be having Amal. So, and we'll look at this night of Qadr in more detail later on, because night of Qadr is the beginning of everything. Is the beginning of everything is that night of Qadr. Right? And it is tonight that Amirul Mu'mineen, faces Ibn Muljim. It is tonight that Amirul Mu'mineen was invited towards his Lord. As you all are aware that the situation was so grim, the situation was so worse after the Battle of Nahrawan, as Amirul Mu'mineen was still in Kufa and still preparing to, meet Muawiyah and the forces at the border. During this period, you have a person, an individual known as Ibn Muljim Muradi, who was from the Khawarij. And as you know, that Khawarij were defeated by Amirul Mu'mineen. And he was one of them who fled during this war and meets at the Kaaba with his friends and vow that, pays allegiance to God, that, he will, take out Amirul Mu'mineen, that he will murder Amirul Mu'mineen with 2 of his friends. One of them went to Syria to kill Muawiyah, and the other went to Egypt to kill Amr As. So Ibn Muljim comes to Kufa in Shaban. And as Amirul Mu'mineen knows everything, right? He knows everything. And he inquires Ibn Muljim, you look foreigner, you need any help or aid or assistance? And he asks his companion to really help. And then he stayed there to the extent where he was also deviated by the lady called Khutam, whose brother and father was killed by Amirul Mu'mineen in the battle of Nahrawan. They were amongst the Khawarij. And she also conspired against Amirul Mu'mineen and asked Ibn Muljim that if you want to marry me, as he had proposed Khutam, as he had proposed her, that if you want to marry me, I want the blood of Amirul Mu'mineen as the mahr, as the marriage gift. I want the head of Amirul Mu'mineen. Then decided to do so. And as you know, Hazrat Ali alayhi salam, in the month of Ramadan, it was his habit to visit every one of his child in the evening to break iftar. And on the 19th night, he was with Kulthum. And the eve happens, the 19th eve, the mat was spread and iftar was brought. And Hazrat Ali alayhi salam looked at the iftar and he says, have you ever seen me having more than 2 types of food that you have brought 3 now? She brought milk, salt, and dry bread. It was very unique that Hazrat Ali would put his dry bread in a jar and will seal it, because the children used to take the dry bread and put it in the water so that it becomes soft. But Hazrat Ali would say that no. He has his own method, his own methodology, which he's clearly said that this is mine, this is my way, not for you. That's Ali. And he says, take the milk away. So he eats dry bread and salt. He breaks his iftar with that. And Kulthum says that my father on this night was a bit restless. He was going outside in the yard and looking at the stars and was saying that, Hadihi layl, this is the night. Because the Prophet have promised him that, O Ali, because he was very disappointed and sad that he did not attain martyrdom as his friends in one of the battles attained martyrdom. Because Ali clearly said that if it was not that I meet an enemy and face martyrdom, I would leave you guys and leave the dunya and live somewhere else. It's only that thing have kept me here. In one of the hadiths, Hazrat Ali says that. So he says, Hadihi night, this is the night that I have been promised. Because the Prophet have promised him. The Khutbah Shabani also indicates that, O Ali, it will be the night in the month of Ramadan where your beard will turn red out of your blood, with your blood. So here, Hazrat Ali, yes, he is the apex of Kamal and perfection, where he sees nothing but God, no doubt. The ubudiyah is there. But as we said, dunya, the world has its own implication. There are certain veils in the dunya. There are certain hijab and veils that we are unable to really see God to that clarity. But in barzakh, there's more clarity there. So that heart needs to be prepared. The soul needs to be prepared to see God. That's why that soul, when it's about to leave this dunya, we look at him, the man about to die, we say, oh my God, look at that. He is suffering so much. Yes, it is suffering. But at the same time, the soul is trying to open that eye towards the barzakh, where he's seeing the beauty and the jalal and jamal and the Ahl Bayt there. When the child is about to come out of the womb of the mother, the doctors and the nurse looking at it, look at it, so painful, so difficult for that child. But the child is entering into a new world of different colors and beauty, isn't it so? The same way the soul, when it's leaving this dunya, it's very hard. It's a partnership of a lifetime of the soul and the body and spirit. Now you're splitting this body and spirit, you're taking away from it. It's very painful and difficult, but at the same time, it is so sweet. There is no pain. That's why Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, for a moment, It is like smelling of a flower. And he enters there. But for a kafir, it is like you throw a cotton cloth on thorns and you try to rip it. And how painful and difficult it is like that. But for a moment, it is like smelling of a flower. So the dunya has its own implication. There are certain hijabat out of mercy of God that we do not see. It is tanazzalul malaikatu warruh tonight. If we just see one angel, we'll be like, our soul will depart. Looking at an angel is not a joke. Huh? That's why that Munkir and Nakir, Bashir and Nadir coming to the grave, the riwayat which talks about how they're going to come, the sound and that, and how scary the soul would be there. But the aid of Amirul Mu'mineen, he promised, I will be there at your head to help you and assist you. That's Mawla Ali. That's why we say, Ya Ali Madad, isn't it so? Right? So here, Amirul Mu'mineen says that, oh Ali, tighten your belt and back and get ready for Maut, because he's entering into a different realm. Hadihi al-layl, tonight is the night. And finally, he goes towards the masjid and he gives azan in the minarets. And this was the last azan the world ever heard from Ali. And he comes down, and Ibn Muljim, Sheikh Abbas Qummi mentions this riwayat. Ibn Muljim was sleeping on the belly, hiding the sword under the belly, which was dipped in the poison, as he says that to Imam Hassan later on. When the tabib, when the doctor came, he said, the poison that I have bought was so expensive that you put a drop in the ocean, the creatures will die in that. And then he starts praying. He wakes up Ibn Muljim, his own killer, advises him, last minute advises him as well, and starts praying. And the first blow, as they say, which was from one of the, conspirator of him, hits the mihrab. But the second blow hits his head. And he goes in sajda, and when he raises his head, it hits the head of Amirul Mu'mineen and it cracks open. And blood starts to flow from his forehead into his beard. And here, Jibreel yells out loudly that today the foundations of hidayat of guidance have been shaken. It is that day. And Ali falls. And as soon as the report reaches to Zainab and Kulthum, they started lamenting and wants to come out. And Ali says, it is not Karbala yet. And Ali in pain, going unconscious and coming back to conscious. Hassan and Hussein in tears. On this blessed night of Qadr, that's how Amirul Mu'mineen was injured. And finally, when Ibn Muljim was brought to Imam Ali looks at in his eyes and he says, was I not a nice Imam to you that you behaved me in this fashion? And he advises Imam Hassan, be wary of him. Give him exactly the same food which you're eating. Give him the same drink which you're drinking. Look how intimidated he is. Do not intimidate him. And then if I'm alive after this injury, I know what I have to do, and I'm the one who forgives. Oh Hassan, if I don't live, give him exactly one blow, if you would like. And if you free him, it's better. Allah la'natullah ala qawm az-zalimin sayalamun alladhina zalamu ayya munqalibin yanqalibun. Rahamallahu man qara al-Fatiha li arwah al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat, especially the marhumin of the brothers and sisters who are present here, and also of the volunteers. With a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
So we have a few minutes for question and answer. If you'd like to get us started.
Assalamu alaikum. Would you say that Prophet Muhammad had the highest level of ubudiyah?
No doubt about it, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Prophet was the ultimate, because Prophet was the Imam of the Imams. Where Amir al-Mu'mineen, he himself have said, I'm the slave and slave of Muhammad.
Okay.
So Prophet was the highest in terms of
I have another question. If Jannat is not created yet, how can we envision what's going to be in the Jannat, right?
It's been explained in the Quran, for example,
Yeah.
because Jannat is a reality that is beyond this materiality.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
beyond this matter. Because in Jannat, you'll be flying, right? So your body needs to be capable of flying. So it's not capable enough now that it could fly.
Okay.
So it's going towards that journey. It's like that larva, the locust and the larva and the butterfly. So butterfly is the stage of Jannah. So we are still progressing. We are going towards that. Barzakh, Qiyamah and all that. It will happen.
So it will be as mentioned in the Quran.
It will be, yes, as, rivers and, and whatever you desire, it will come to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I need to clear in my own mind the concept of intercession. Going to Allah through Imams, should we not go straight to Allah?
Yes, very good question. Imams are just like the prophets. The prophets and the Imams, they are the one who would describe us, who would explain us, who would teach us how to approach God. Right? We always, connect to God directly. But Imams, we are saying they are intercession in the sense that they are teaching us. They are becoming that medium, that vehicle. Like, for example, the dua munajat of Shabaniyah. What does it become? How does it starts? Wasma du'ai idha da'utuk. I call unto you, O Lord, so listen to me. Wasma nidai idha nadaituk. It's direct. We are directly connecting to God. But what is sama? God is sami. What does that really mean? Right? And when I'm saying wasma dua idha da'utuk, I'm really asking one of the name of Sami of Allah to manifest towards me. Because He has different names, but now I'm particularly engaging or gauging on that name of Sami. So that Sami opens towards me. Now who taught us this? It's Subhanallah amma yusifun, illa ibadallahi mukhlasin. God cannot be depicted, cannot be described, except that those who are the mukhlasin. So intercession is by these mukhlasin, by these sort of purified ones. They are able to really teach us. We are interceding them, in that sense of the word. Yeah. Now, if we are imagining that the intercession be that, for example, I have done nothing. Now, just because I know the names, then I will be given no, not in that sense at all. No, because Imam Baqir alayhi salam clearly mentions that there is no favoritism here between us and God. We have reached to the level of qurb by ita'at. And we want our followers to reach the qurb by ita'at. And then if they fall short, we are there. Because the levels of Jannah is eternal. So no matter how much we do, we'll fall short. So you have to have that special mercy of God that we need to engage through these divine ones who are representing actually the mercy of God Himself.
So just to clarify the same question, your answer, you are not praying to Allah. You're not praying to the Imams. You are praying directly to Allah. The Imams being wasila in a sense that they have showed us through their actions how we can emulate and be close to Allah and be able to pray to Him directly.
Right.
Is that correct?
Okay. Now we'll take a step further now as the question have moved here, and also I wanted to discuss this as well. Imam Hussain alayhi salam says that ma ma'rifatullah. What is the ma'rifat of God? Before leaving to Makkah, ma'rifatullah. No, ma khalaqallah li ya'rifuhu Why God created the creation? God created the creation so that the creation recognize God. Right? Now, obviously, there's a lot of questions might come about here, which we don't want to deal with that now. Now, the creation خَلَقَ اللَّهَ لِيَعْرِفُوا أَبَدُوا. So when they recognize God, they will do ibadah. It's automatic. It is once they know that Lord is so great, they will do ibadah. فَأَبَدُوا مُسْتَغْنِي عَنْ إِبَادَةِ مَا سِوَى. They will become ghani from worshipping others. They will not worship others, but they will worship God. They will not worship the dunya. They will not worship sports. They will not worship, celebrities, but they will worship God. If we take worship in different ways, that focus, tawajjuh and all, taking direction, so on and so forth. Now, a person stands up and asks, Ma ma'rifatullah, what is the ma'rifat of God? Then Imam says, ma'rifat of God is the ma'rifat of the Imam of the time. So if a person have the ma'rifat and knowledge of the Imam of the time, he's having the ma'rifat of God. So now, if he's taking Imam as the wasila, and if he's asking Imam directly as well, that, oh Imam, you give me, then he's actually asking God. It's like we go to the doctor. Obviously Allah is the one who gives shafaat, but we still go to the doctor. We should say that, no, I don't want to go there. Risk, I want directly from God, but we go and get the risk for. Where do we get the risk from? Something that is higher to us. Where do we go for our shafaat? Someone who have that knowledge of shafaat, which is higher to me. He might, for example, if we try to differentiate here, we say, oh, I'm a Muslim, for example, he's not a Muslim, I am higher. No, I'm sorry. He has that skill, that knowledge of shafaat, which is higher to you. Just like Mother Teresa and the charity that we spoke about. Mother Teresa is much better than many Muslims because she has that generous heart, which a Muslim doesn't have. But he is self-righteous. He thinks that he is the one who is supposed to go in Jannah. And this is ujub, and this is worse than sin, according to the hadith. Somebody who is self-righteous, who thinks that he is the best, that is worse than sin. That's worse than committing a sin. Right? All of these and differences that we have today is because of this very thing, this very disease, right? So here we go somewhere higher. So when we go to an imam and we ask them directly, because they have reached that that pinnacle of existence, where they are representing, where they are, manifestating that reality of God. You see. So Imam Khomeini discusses this and he says that, yes, you could go directly to the imams and ask them, and it's not shirk.
I think that's all the time we have for questions. Before I give Raza Uncle the mic, if anyone would like to recite the Adhan, the Quran, or the Ziyarat on Thursday or Saturday, we're going to put some sign-up sheets up at the front desk. So if you'd like to participate in that, please do put your name down.
Assalamu alaikum. I know everybody's hungry, and I am too, so I'm going to keep it very short, 3 to 4 minutes, maximum. Firstly, I want to thank everybody who has participated and come to this gathering, because the board of directors and the volunteers, they work very, very hard to put this program such as this together. And the more people come, we feel that we have done our job. So thanks for participating and also cooperating with us in terms of registration, because that saves us a lot of, it saves us, gives us planning properly, and we save on food wastage. So that's important that everyone who plans to come, tell your friends that they register on Eventbrite. Now, talking about Eventbrite, I just want to share with you a story. Last year, we invited, the board of directors put out a call to form an IT volunteer team. And thank Allah, that we had 4 or 5 people come forward who are very, very knowledgeable in the IT work, and it is being headed by our friend, our board of directors, Hasnain Sajan, who is an entrepreneur, and he's got his own IT business. He was joined by Muhammad, who is doing his computer science, by Yahid Shirazi, who is doing our e-blast, and Jabir Rustam, who is doing Facebook. And you can see that these type of people have come forward to serve, and to us, it is basically like ubudiyah, if I'm understanding it correctly. And when you come forward like this, we can put out a program and move forward with it. So today we are requesting you to come forward with the kind of projects we have in mind is, for example, organize monthly programs. Only in April, we organized oil, what do you call it? The oil TED Talks, for example, and it went very well. We want people who are interested in community building. Please come forward with your knowledge of how to build a community. Please come forward. We are planning, hopefully, a retreat where we can share spiritual knowledge from different faiths, but we need people to come forward who are interested in such things. And there are many other projects, so please feel, if anyone is interested, to come forward, meet with me or any member of the board, and we will be happy to take on your request. If you are interested in something specific, we'd like to hear from you. And lastly, but not least, as a treasurer and a member of the board, it is my responsibility to update you on the financial position of our fundraising project. This Ramadan program for 5 days is approximately costing us about $20,000, which averages at $4,000 per day. So far, we have received about $6,000, and today is the third day, half day. So we request you to feel hopefully generous during the month of Ramadan. It is not only fasting of the food, but also with your heart to share what your blessings are so that we could put such programs together. That's all I will leave you with, and I hope we will see you. Thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. We literally have 2 minutes. All I'm going to say is there's volunteering and there's volunteering. So during the month of Ramadan, of course, we fast, we pray, but we are not supposed to stay home and die in our own hunger. We're supposed to go out and help those. So if you want to go out and help, we have 2 weeks left, plus we have weeks going into July. Of course, you can continue to help. We've come up with 3 different opportunities for you to volunteer now. So if you want to, please come to the front of the come to the table at the front, see the different opportunities. There's helping with the Syrians who are here. There's helping at a Regent Meals lunch program down in Regent Park. They really need our help. The 2nd, 16th, and the 23rd of July. So as long as I get 5 or 6 people signed up for any of those days, then we can go as a group, and it's really heartwarming. I'm there every Sunday. It's wonderful to be there. So I really look forward to you coming and asking me questions, signing up at the front, and signing up for regular volunteering for oil, of course, at the front as well. Thank you very much. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
The microphones are extra. come in the car. I'll bring it for you.
So,
My gratitude.
azan must.
Azan first.
Azan person. Azan person.
बस चलते
Take your time.
आते ही
Huh?
तब हो जाओ
Yeah.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت وباركت ورحمت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآل محمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح هيا على خير العمل هيا على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه أستغفر الله من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه إنه كان غفارا الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد سمع الله لمن حمد الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وصل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقول. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي ولوالد والدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. ربي ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله. الله. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وتقبل شفاعته بحول الله وقوته. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا علي يا عظيم يا غفور يا رحيم. أنت الرب العظيم الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وهذا شهر عظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور. وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه عليه. وهو شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن. هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان وجعلت فيه ليلة القدر وجعلتها خيرا من 1000 شهر فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك من علي بفكاك رقبتي من النار في من تمن عليه وادخلني الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين وأولاد المعصومين حجج الله. هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح هيا على خير العمل هيا على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانهر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة ظهيرا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وتقبل حول الله وقوته. الله. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر بحول الله وقوته الله أكبر سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الله أكبر أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه الله أكبر سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بنا ما أنت أهله ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهله يا أهل التقوى والمغفرة يا أرحم الراحمين الله أكبر الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر اللهم صل على محمد اللهم صل
اللهم صل على اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم أدخل على أهل القبور السرور اللهم أغني كل فقير اللهم اشبع كل جائع اللهم اكس كل عريان اللهم اغض دين كل مدين اللهم فرج عن كل مكروب اللهم رد كل غريب اللهم فك كل أسير اللهم اصلح كل فاسد من أمور المسلمين اللهم اشفي كل مريض اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك اللهم اقض عنا الدين وأغننا من الفقر إنك على كل شيء قدير
السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله السلام عليك ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوسيد السلام عليك ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا مولا وابن مولا السلام عليك يا قريب القرباء السلطان أبو الحسن علي ابن موسى الرضا كن شفيعنا شفيع لدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا مولانا صاحب الزمان الأمان الأمان السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان أجر الله فرجك وسال الله مخرجك وجعلنا من أنصارك والله دينا تحت لواء السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته
Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay. Sorry, can I have your guys' attention, please? License plate BXFY049. It's a Toyota Corolla. Your lights are on. Again, that's BXFY049. Toyota Corolla. Your lights are on.
check, check. Check, check, testing, testing, check, check. Hello, hello, hello. I put the thing over there. Now we need to keep the cable. This is on because someone wanted to talk about announcement.
Using the handheld, right?
Which one? Let's do it, Mohammed. I've got the power supply connected. Yes. Everything is there. Yeah. Use this one to announce.
So we can use this for that. Amal is we got the
and the lapel, both of them.
lapel is giving problem. No, we are moving the receiver closer. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's the distance between the receiver and the transmitter. That's what's causing it. Yeah. So then we don't need this, right? Or
Somebody might want to say a dua or something.
Yeah, let's just take the stain as well.
Stain might need the stain.
Take it. Dua parto ito stain.
Check, check.
Fitnet, I think mic is thicker than.
Oh yeah. Handle it. Check, check, testing, testing, check, check, check. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, testing, testing. Check, check, check.
we will inshallah
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We'll start the amal of the night of Qadr with the 2 rakat of prayer. In the first rakat, we would recite Hamd and 7 times Qul Huwallahu Ahad. In the second rakat, we do the same. Qurbatan ilallah. The intention is Qurbatan ilallah, 2 rakat prayer by the intention of night of Qadr. Qurbatan ilallah. First rakat, Alhamd and 7 times Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Then second rakat Hamd and 7 times Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And then there are tasbihat. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayhi, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayhi, which we'll do it together inshallah. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We'll recite 70 times. Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. 70 times Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. 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 Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Then we'll recite 100 times Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. The difference here, in the first we say Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. And then in the second one we say Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh with the sifat of Rabb. It seems that Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, it is on a higher level where a person is connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any quality as a Rabb. But in the second one, you are connecting to God with the sifat of a Rabb, which indicates your sustenance, which is more in regards to rizq, in regards to your development, in regards to your progress. Initially, we begin with Astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, and Astaghfars, and the station of Mustaghfirin is one of the lofty station that, Hazrat Musa, after coming back, he tells to, Harun, and he was disappointed and upset, and he prayed to God, oh Allah, make us or keep us from those who are mustaghfirin, those who are the seekers of the forgiveness of God. So it's a big, very big and high, lofty station to be from the mustaghfirin. And tonight is the night of seeking astaghfar, it's night of seeking forgiveness. So the first one is astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfar is seeking forgiveness, and this seeking forgiveness, as Amirul Mu'mineen says, has to come with tubu ilayh as well, meaning that returning to God. I can just seek forgiveness and just do nothing, but this seeking forgiveness must be tubu ilayh, meaning that I turn to God as well. So now the second one is astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. It is this quality of Rabb there, which points out to rizq, inshallah. And when we seek, we have to remember and recollect and recall the sins that we have committed. We have to remember those sins, and we should seek forgiveness for those sins sincerely and do the intention of not returning back. So together, inshallah, we'll do astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. 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 In the munajat of Shabaniyah, we say to Allah, In akhastuka bi jurmi, akhastuka bi maghfiratik. Oh Allah, if you catch me for the jurm, for the mistakes that I have made, I will catch you with your istighfar, with your maghfirah. Because God is all forgiving. If I am an abd, if I am a slave, I am limited, I make mistake. So if you hold me for my jurm, for my jaraim, for the mistakes, oh God, you are so merciful, you are loving, you are so kind, and you yourself have taught me, Allah is so merciful, and He has said you can do astaghfar. So, oh Lord, thank you for keeping this door open for me, so that I seek you. So if you hold for my errors and mistakes, for the crimes that I have committed, nobody knows, only you know, Allah. But at the same time, I seek forgiveness, O Allah, on this special night, on this blessed night. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. 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 Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. 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 Hazrat Ali says that, one of the realities of astaghfar is that to melt the meat which is on the bones to seek forgiveness. So we have to really suffer something to show our
sincerity to God. So Allah, we fasted these months. Obviously, these fasting have brought pain and difficulty for us. So we seek your forgiveness. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. 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 Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. 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 Astaghfirullah Rabbi. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Now tonight being the night of the injury of Amirul Mu'mineen, the Imam, our first Imam, the recitation recommended for tonight is also Allahumma lan qatalata Amirul Mu'mineen. So we recite 100 times that may the curse or may Ibn Muljim or the one who have conspired and killed Amirul Mu'mineen be far away from the mercy of God. Because Allah clearly says that, there is no mercy for those who does zulm. So the zalimeen are far away from the mercy of God. So we are participating in doing this zikr, which is the zikr of God. God is saying, my mercy is not for zalimeen. So when we are doing Allahumma lan qatalata Amirul Mu'mineen, we are just being the channel of the same wish and will of God. We are expressing that. Allahumma lan qatalata Amirul Mu'mineen. Allahumma lan qatalata Amirul Mu'mineen. 100 times. Allahumma lan qatalata Amirul Mu'mineen. 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 اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين 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 اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين 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 اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين 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 اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين 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 اللهم لعن اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين 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 اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين اللهم لعن قتلة اللهم لعن قتلة اللهم
اللهم لعن قتلة أمير المؤمنين 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 صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. I will do the amal of the Quran and then you do the rest of the du'as. Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. So the Quran is here. Okay. Right. Okay. I have it here. Inshallah. Yeah. So we have the amal of the Quran, and tonight being the night of Qadr, in which the Quran was revealed upon the heart of the Prophet, which is very significant. This amal where we recite a special dua by keeping the Quran in front of us. Now please bring the Quran in front of you and open it. In this dua we recite that, for the sake of this Quran, for the sake of this book, this Quran, which has been revealed and whatsoever is in it, وَأَسْمَاؤُكَ الْأَكْبَرُ, and those great divine names that are in it, and the beautiful names, أَسْمَاؤُكَ الْحُسْنَى وَمَا يُخَافُ وَيُرْجَى, and taj'alani, and keep us from those who are utqaika, who is far away from your hellfire. The Quran, the reality of the Quran is that it is the word of God. So that means the whole Quran is nothing but the names of God within it, in form of different stories that we see. But it is nothing but the play of the names of God Himself. The story of Musa and Pharaoh is there, but these are nothing but the names of God Himself. So every verse have a name that we need to reflect and ponder. So that's why we say, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi kitabika al-munzil wa ma fihi wa fihi asma'uka al-akbar wa asma'uka al-husna. It's all the asma'i husna ilahi. So we have the book in front of us, the Quran, the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we recite all together. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma inni as'aluka bi kitabika al-munzal wa ma fihi wa fihi ismuka al-akbar wa asma'uka al-husna wa ma yukhafu wa yurja an taj'alani min utaqaika min an-nar. Now we put the Quran on top of our head. Very symbolic, as is the Quran, we are using it to connect to the divine mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that descends from the heaven, from God. And once again we ask for this book and whatsoever the Asma al-Husna is in it, and the names of the awliya, those who are mentioned in this book as well. And then eventually we take the names of all of the awliya, all of the imams, all of the most special and unique beings. Allahumma bihaqqi hadha al-Quran wa bihaqqi man arsaltahu bih
وبحق كل مؤمن مدحته في وبحقك عليهم فلا أحد أعرف بحقك منك بك يا الله 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 جل جلاله ربي. The mercy to mankind بمحمد 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 صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. Tonight being the night of Amirul Mu'mineen, we seek the wasila of Amirul Mu'mineen, we seek the intercession of Amirul Mu'mineen for the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to descend. Indeed, the Ahl Bayt are the wasila themselves, they are the channel of grace, they are the channel of mercy. Just like how the sun is the channel of light for day to exist, in the same way the Ahl Bayt are the channel of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to descend. Our guidance, our mercy, our divine justice, all is descended or manifested through the Ahl Bayt alayhimus salam. And now the Imam of all Imams, Imam Amirul Mu'mineen, بعلي 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 بعلي. Now the most unique and precious, the apple of the eye of the Prophet, the nur of the eye of the Prophet. And the night of Qadr is symbolized as Fatima as well. The same way as the night of Qadr is mysterious. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. It is not you and I who is saying that do you really know what is Laylatul Qadr? It is God who is saying it. So obviously, when a being like God, who is mysterious himself, he is saying, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. And Fatima is symbolized as the night of Qadr. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا Fatima. There's a lot of symbolism here, because night is hidden, is unseen. The reality of Fatima is also hidden and unseen. So we ask the wasila of Siddiqa Kubra, Fatima Zahra, because the ghazab of Fatima is the ghazab of God. The pleasure of Fatima is the pleasure of God. Bifatimata, bifatimata, bifatima, bifatimata, bifatimata, bifatima, bifatimata, 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 bifatima, alayha salam. بالحسن 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 عليه السلام بالحسين 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 عليه السلام بعلي بن الحسين 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 عليه السلام بمحمد بن علي 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 عليه السلام. Now we seek the sixth Imam. We are known as the Jafari. There's a contribution of Imam on our lives, and He is the one who established our fiqh, our understanding. All that we benefit, what have remained, is from him, and he is the closest being, individual Imam to our Lord. We seek for the sake of the sixth Imam, inshallah, بجعفر ibn Muhammadin, بجعفر ibn Muhammadin, بجعفر ibn Muhammad, بجعفر ibn Muhammadin, بجعفر ibn Muhammadin, بجعفر ibn Muhammad, بجعفر ibn Muhammadin, بجعفر ibn Muhammadin, بجعفر ibn Muhammadin, بجعفر ibn Muhammad, بموسى ibn Ja'farin, بموسى ibn Ja'farin, بموسى ibn Ja'far, بموسى ibn Ja'farin, بموسى ibn Ja'farin, بموسى ibn Ja'far, بموسى ibn Ja'farin, بموسى ibn Ja'farin, بموسى ibn Ja'farin, بموسى ibn Ja'far عليه السلام. بعلي ibn موسى, 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 بعلي ibn موسى عليه السلام. بمحمد ibn علي, 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 بمحمد ibn علي عليه السلام. بعلي ibn محمد, 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 بعلي ibn محمد عليه السلام. بالحسن ibn علي, 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 بالحسن ibn علي عليه السلام. Seek the Imam of our time, the Hujjat, the Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, because of whom the whole existence exists. He is the Khalifa, he is the representative. Without his wujud, without his existence, nothing will exist. The existence is existing because of him. As the hadith says, otherwise the existence will eat itself. It will be destroyed, it will be doomed. So he is the Imam who is alive. And he is the channel of all mercy for us. So whatever mercy, forgiveness, rizq, our prosperity, our future, forgiveness of our marhumeen, that we need to receive, as tonight is the night of Qadr, the night of destiny. Whatever we need to be destined, it comes from him. Oh Imam of our time, we are your lover. We have made errors, we have made mistakes. We might have brought discomfort to your heart by our actions. But after all, we love you, we love your Jad, we participate, we try to participate in the majalis of Imam Hussain, we try to do things. We seek that you pray for us tonight, for our destiny, whatever we are destined. If there be any sort of calamity that we are supposed to suffer, we ask you, we seek you that you intercede near God and change our destiny and make it for the best. And you have the power to do so, to intercede in front of our Lord. So we ask the Imam of our time, all together, remembering all those who are not with us, the marhumeen, our family members, those people who are in the hospitals, they would like to do the amal, but they cannot do the amal because they are in hospital. Those people who are in the camps, in the refugee camps, those people who are suffering. We remember all of them, and for the end of the suffering of all of humanity. We seek the Imam of our time vis-a-vis God, near God. Bil hujjate, bil hujjate, bil hujja, بالحجة 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 عليه السلام عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. Hajat, seek your hajat, your desires. Remember the Imam himself in your du'as. Remember the marhumin. Remember those who are in hospitals, those who are suffering, those who are been in the prisons. Remember your parents who have done, remember those who have done favor towards you, your teachers. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There are short du'as which will be recited and then inshallah we'll end with ziyarat. There's a nice hadith in one of the amal, common amal of tonight. We did, these are the common amal, there are other common amal. The Prophet said, Hazrat Musa asked God that, "Oh God, I want your nearness." God replied, "My nearness is to those who will be awake on the night of Qadr." Then Musa said, "Oh God, I want your mercy." God said, "My mercy is for those who would have mercy upon the masakin, upon those who are miskeen." Then Musa said, "Oh God, I want to pass the sirat, the bridge." Then God replied, "This is for those who on the night of Qadr give sadaqah." Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The following are some short du'as that we recite inshallah for the nights of Qadr. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أمسيت لك عبدا داخرا لا أملك لنفسي نفعا ولا ضرا ولا أصرف عنها سوءا. أشهد بذلك على نفسي وأعترف لك بضعف قوتي وقلة هيلتي. فصل على محمد وآل محمد وأنجز لي ما وعدتني وجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات من المغفرة في هذه الليلة وأتمم علي ما آتيتني فإني عبدك المسكين المستكين الضعيف الفقير المحين. اللهم لا تجعلني ناسيا لذكرك فيما أوليتني ولا غافلا لإحسانك فيما أعطيتني ولا آيسا من إجابتك وإن أبطعت عني في سراء أو ضراء أو شدة أو رخاء أو عافية أو بلاء أو بؤس أو نعماء إنك سميع الدعاء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا ذا الذي كان قبل كل شيء ثم خلق كل شيء ثم يبقى ويفنى كل شيء. يا ذا الذي ليس كمثله شيء ويا ذا الذي ليس في السماوات العلى ولا في الأرضين السفلى ولا فوقهن ولا تحتهن ولا بينهن إله يعبد غيره. لك الحمد حمدا لا يقوى على إحسائه إلا أنت. فصل على محمد وآل محمد صلاة لا يقوى على إحسائها إلا أنت. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر من الأمر المحتوم وفيما تفرق من الأمر الحكيم في ليلة القدر وفي القضاء الذي لا يرد ولا يبدل أن تكتبني من حجاج بيتك الحرام المبرور حجهم المشكور سعيهم المغفور ذنوبهم المكفر عنهم سيئاتهم. واجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر أن تطيل عمري وتوسع علي في رزقي وتفعل بي حاجات.